I gotta get myself in a good mood.
Well, we are live now. Thank you for joining us for our midweek update. This is episode 4.5. We have kind of skipped a week-ish. Ollie's been traveling. A lot of crazy things been happening this week. But Ollie, how's everything going? I know you spent some time in Texas. You're in Washington now. Things treating you all right?
You know what? Seattle and the surrounding areas, Everett, Bellevue, were my childhood homes from the ages of 5 to 13. And this is kind of sacred ground for me. These are memories from my childhood that I don't exactly want to mess up. And so here I am messing them up, but I'm getting the chance to meet my newborn niece, and I couldn't be more excited about that. She is hot already. I'm gonna have to beat the boys or girls off of her, and I'm just really excited. It's beautiful up here. I don't think I could do it full time because of the rain, the clouds, and some of the culture. But Seattle's beautiful. I'm excited to be here. And I'm excited to be doing the Descent show because I feel so bad between allergies and traveling. I missed all of last week, and so the show's important to me. So here we are, broadcasting live from an apartment.
I do like the white background. It reminds me of my apartment without pictures.
Yeah, but I couldn't be more excited. And this week, Devin, we have the full crew. We have Gillespie, who is the editor of the show, kind of doing some producing. We have Jordan, who's going to be taking over live tweeting from the Descent show account. That's going to be really exciting as we get more quotes out from us. And then we have Trevor, who's handling some of the production on my end, making sure that nothing goes down. And y'all over at Periscope, we couldn't do the Descent show without y'all. So thank y'all on Periscope for tuning in. Make sure you go to bit.ly.com/Descent show. Subscribing to our YouTube is the best thing you can do for us. We're not taking advertisers. We're not asking for donations, but we do need subscribers on YouTube. To make this happen and to keep Devin happy, who is really the host. I'm more like the side piece.
Hey, I appreciate you being here. And just before we get started, can you turn your computer down just a touch?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love you being on the show. I love having you here. Your reach is far greater than mine, honestly. But I am jealous of you being in Seattle. I hear not only do they have great coffee, of course, Starbucks, all that kind of stuff, but I hear the food, the cuisine is incredible around the city. So,
we're going to check out some places. I got some recommendations from a Twitter follower, and of course, I have family up here now, so I can't wait to chow down.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Lynchburg, for being a small city, there's a lot of new things happening downtown lately, and which is really cool because typically it's your fast food chains and your typical restaurant like franchises and stuff like Buffalo Wild Wings. We just got a Chili's. I think we talked about that last week. But once again, thank you for tuning in to our show tonight. You can go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's bit.ly.com/Descent show. If you have not followed us on Twitter, feel free to go ahead and do so at Descent show. That's DISSENT show. And we do have Jordan on the back end doing some live tweeting. He'll engage you, generate conversation, answer your questions, that kind of thing. And we definitely want to stay engaged with our audience throughout the show. That's what makes this fun. That's what makes it interesting. If we're just sitting here, jabbing, and talking for an hour, we can do that over the phone. So this is really cool to have an audience, have people, listening and interjecting and that sort of thing. But with that being said, I want to jump right into it. This past weekend was by far. Was that your phone?
It wasn't my phone. That was Trevor's phone.
Oh, that's funny. This past weekend was by far one of the best opening weekends of college football in recent past. I mean, anything from I can't stand USC, Southern California, not South Carolina. I can't stand them. And to see Alabama just say, "Hey, you're in the Pac-12. Who's she?" It's
It's hot roll.
Yeah, exactly. 52-6. I thought you know what? It would be kind of cool to see Alabama upset, but at the same time, I just love seeing USC be embarrassed over and over again between cheating and having paid athletes. You know, then you have cheating coaches and then coaches leaving and doing all this other stuff. It's pretty awesome to see Alabama just. I mean, they thwarted them. I mean, they just destroyed them. And
It didn't start off that way. That was my birthday, so I missed the opening game for Bama. Those who know me know that I'm a Bama fan, and yes, I live in Baton Rouge, and yes, I catch a lot of hell for it.
And yes, LSU lost.
Whatever. But Bama. I was totally excited because we started off rocky. The opponents, that's what I'm going to refer to them as, scored first. And so when I looked at the score, I made sure I tweeted out there. I said, y'all are going to have to roll tide without me. And I tagged a bunch of my Bama friends because I wasn't able to watch the game. I was doing birthday festivities in Texas. And when I saw that they didn't just beat them, but the elephant stomped them, I mean, it was a powerful thing. And I was a very, very happy camper. And then to watch UT win. And I know that we talked about UT and kind of, you're not really rooting on them for anything, but it was nice to watch them beat the Irish because, sometimes Catholics and these Northeasterners can get a little uppity with their support of Notre Dame. And, I'm just pro Texas whenever it's against anything else except for Bama.
Yeah, I mean, so yes, I did say a couple of things against Texas last week. Just by, I was just voicing my opinion of how embarrassing Mac Brown became as a coach, recruiting family members and just not able to maintain that top 10 football team, that Texas football caliber that I'm so used to seeing. And I'll say they surprised me this weekend. I am definitely all about some hook 'em horns right now because, I mean, I've always been a UT fan. I've always been one.
If we were smart enough, we would have went there.
I know, exactly. Smart enough. I don't want to credit my private school that I went to my lack in intelligence or anything. No. Texas and Notre Dame, that was a primetime football game. There's been more social media buzz about that game than any other game this weekend. And
really?
There's actually been articles about how much social media has covered, Texas. So it's amazing. And one of the announcers I heard was saying, never have we needed the start of college football more than we do now. And it gives me chills just thinking about it because the way I see college football, I mean, you have the NFL and you have the fans that just go berserk for guys that are, the guys are making millions of dollars. They're out there. It's very entertainment value-esque. It's very, it's all consumer commercialized, athletics. However, with football and being college football specifically, I mean, the traditions and the history of these schools. The other day, a friend of mine, we were going through the largest stadiums in the world. As far as like capacity, and there were more college stadiums in like the top 20 or top 30 than any other stadiums in the United States. So as far as like NFL, the Big House in Michigan, Death Valley, all these places have more people coming to their games than the mothership, the AT&T Stadium for the Cowboys. So it's incredible to see everybody come out and just the camaraderie, the traditions, just the love for the sport, and that there's almost like an innocence to the game whenever you watch it. And one thing I did want to point out is one of the most touching things I saw this week was when Nebraska did the missing man formation. For those who aren't familiar with what happened over the summer, their punter, Sam Foltz, actually got in a car accident and died as a young man. And what they did on Saturday was they did the missing man formation, so they set up to punt, and they left a new punter out. So there's only 10 guys on the field. They actually got a delay of game for that. They just let the clock run out. And Fresno State actually declined.
Wow.
The Fresno State declined the actual penalty, and the entire stadium erupted in support of the team, in support of their family, and that's just something we need right now. Not somebody to pass away and to honor them necessarily, but for that coming together, for another team to recognize a hurt and stuff, for brothers to recognize hurt in other brothers, and I think that's just something that it's a totally different storyline and narrative than what we see with the NFL. Because right now, as you all know, the only thing that is being talked about in the NFL is Colin Kaepernick, and it's just like you have this shift to college football and this excitement and this love for the game, and then also you have that camaraderie, and it just really touched me to see that. I saw a lot of people sharing the video, and it's probably one of the coolest things I saw all weekend. I mean, granted, a lot of good teams won, a lot of great action. I mean, one of the greatest comebacks by Florida State over Ole Miss this week, but by far one of the best highlights that I saw was the missing man formation and just that tribute to their football team in Nebraska, or their punter rather. But yeah, there's all sorts of things happening. Ollie, the other day you actually said something to me about a quality filter on Twitter, and we kind of joke about Twitter and social media trying to censor conservatives, censor those who are anti-PC. What is your take on all this new stuff happening in social media where it seems like they're setting up these algorithms and you have no idea what they're about, how they filter, but that certain people are getting cut out? Do you think this is an aim at conservative people or non-PC people, or what's your take on that?
I think that I've often said that the center of culture right now centers around these geeks and these nerds running these mega corporations that are social networks and internet web shows and the like. And they have a chance to, for the first time ever, truly democratize culture. And that is kind of go with the majority, follow these memes like Harambe and the rest of them. But instead you have some of the elite companies turning to filters and technical mechanisms by which they can malign and censor otherwise mainstream opinions. And the people that's really hurting are conservatives, which is really surprising. These people who think that they're liberals are actually progressives, and they're supposed to be for free thought. They're supposed to be for conversation. They're supposed to be for tolerance. But when it comes to anything about white people, anything about Christianity, anything about conservatism, anything with the scarlet letter R, heaven forbid you be, Republican, it just seems like, you can't win. And, frankly, it's bullshit. And, it looks like one of our producers is having a problem. Hold on. Trevor, let him know it's not private. I just checked my Twitter feed and clicked play, and it's not private. Okay. Sorry. But, speaking of technical difficulties and people being asshats, so I'm really concerned about these companies. I encourage everyone to stay on Twitter, but go to war with Twitter. I don't think that Jack Dorsey this time next year is going to be the CEO. We don't know that Twitter is going to be owned by Twitter Incorporated this time next year because of how poorly he's doing. So I think that we need tremendous pressure now with this YouTube demonetization stuff. Is you can build in what you think are quality filters and quality mechanisms, but all that ever ends up doing is punishing mainstream opinions or punishing, who cares if a couple of dollars go to somebody who put up a fringe video? If it's getting views, it's getting views, and that's when conservatives are like, well, let the market work. The market will punish bad opinions. The market will punish fringe opinions, but people ought to be represented.
Yeah, and one of the things about the demonetization, like you brought up YouTube, one of those things, I've watched several videos of guys who have millions of subscribers, and they just talk about how it's unfortunate because YouTube's punishing themselves by not allowing that ad revenue to come through, and that the big thing is that they're not telling people about it. For a long time, apparently YouTube came out and said, hey, we've been demonetizing, actual videos for a long time. We're just now telling you about it, though. And so there are people that have gotten tens of thousands, even millions of views on their videos, and because an algorithm saw that it was some sort of questionable content, they didn't get any money for it. And now they're being told about it. They're being, been given this notification, and even episode 4 apparently on our channel lost monetization, which, I mean, we have maybe 50 views, if that, on it. But the reason we lost monetization is, I'm guessing I tagged it. We talked about the UT handing out 5,000 dildos, and
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what we talked about, and that's what offended somebody or offended their algorithm or whatever. But I think it's questionable because if you think about YouTube, it is a creator's paradise. It is a place where you can be creative, where you can develop and put your ideas out to the public. And like you said, Ollie, the audience is going to drive the revenue. Whatever happens, I mean, it's almost like evolution. Like, if it's good stuff and people like it, they're going to watch it. If not, there's going to be, there are not going to be any views. So I think, with Twitter, I wish we could live in a society that when they say, let's be tolerant of other people, it's so weird because you cannot, if you put a circle of logic, these are two separate circles of logic. Say, let's be tolerant, but let's also be PC. Let's be tolerant because they can't. I personally, I believe they can't interwork together. This is not something that's on the same track. Because I may find somebody, offensive, or I may say something about somebody that's offensive, and that's not politically correct. That's bullying, and that's one thing that they've said about this quality filter is they're trying to filter out on Twitter. They're trying to filter out low-hitting or not very popular blogs or bloggers or Twitter accounts. They're trying to eliminate spam and bots retweeting a bunch of stuff. And honestly, whenever they went to a algorithm instead of a chronological, timeline, that irritated me because now I guess it calculates how much time you read other people's stuff, and it's like the same 6 or 7 people in my timeline. I don't get to see everyone's tweets. There are things that go out there, and I see it like a week later.
Yeah, Twitter has a mechanism called shadow banning, when they don't tell you, but they filter you out of your friends' timelines if they don't approve of your opinion, and it's nowhere in the terms of service. It's nowhere on the Twitter help desk. It's a process that leaked out and that we know about, and that the mainstream media isn't covering.
Yeah, I mean, and you were talking about mainstream. It's not even mainstream. What's happening? Like there's a YouTuber, Philip DeFranco. He's got like 4.5 million views, and he's one of the main guys that hit on this past week. And I mean, he cusses. He talks about porn stars. He talks about just some fringe items, things that are not the most wholesome or child friendly. However, he talks about news and gives his opinion in a way that is it's fairly open-minded. He doesn't come across crazy bias or anything like that, but if he is getting millions of views every week, and his tags or 1 or 2 things that he says every week affects this, or causes demonetization for his channel, there's something wrong. That's like shooting your own. That's like throwing out the baby with the bathwater. And I think that if it doesn't get addressed, this is wishful thinking. I hope the top creators on YouTube get together and say, hey, we got some money, let's build our own platform, and it be, freedom of speech. All of this anti-bullying campaigns and stuff like that. Life is not rainbow and butterflies. Life is not something where you get out of college, you go try to get a job, and everything's just kosher. Everybody's going to be patting you on the back, shaking your hand. You're going to get a, participation paycheck. That's not how the real world works. And if you can't live in the real world and you can't get online and be yourself and allow other people to be themselves, then get off the internet.
Yeah, get the hell off the internet. And speaking of there's so much dissatisfaction with Twitter. We've seen 3 social networks that I've been watching. The first one that really got prominence was ELLO.co. That's ELLO.co, and it's now transformed into more of a graphic designer's paradise or whatever. But then the next one was MeWe, MEWE.com, and they were reaching out, and they thought and I don't even think they're conservatives running it, but they thought how conservatives were being treated on Twitter was very piss poor, and they've been wonderful. I've suggested some UI fixes to their platform, and then the last one is so far my favorite one. It's gabbedoutai. That's GAB.ai, and it's being ran by a guy who's going on the motto called #SpeakFreely. And anyone's welcome there, and you can self-censor. So if you don't want to see something in your timeline, be it profanity, be it Trump, be it welfare checks, you can filter all of that out of your timeline, and it rewards popular things. So every tweet has an up and a down button. It's kind of like Reddit, if you will. And so I'm enjoying gab.ai. I've suggested all my friends join gab.ai. I'm not getting paid for this message, nor do I need to, because it is important, like you said, Devin, that when we don't like something, we go out there and we create something new. That is the essence of the internet. But not only that, I think conservatives are afraid to boycott. Conservatives are afraid to chastise products. Let's beat the hell out of Twitter while we're having some fun over on Gab. And that's what I'm myself is doing. I'm building a following on Gab, but I'm also beating the hell out of Jack on Twitter on his own platform because homie don't play that.
I mean, not to beat a dead horse with Milo, but Milo was he poked fun, but he didn't. In my opinion, he didn't say anything overly rude. It was just some pretty straightforward criticism. And all these other people jumped on the bandwagons and started saying some pretty awful racist crap, and then said all this stuff, and all of a sudden Milo's the one who gets fully suspended. I mean, he's got over 250,000 followers, and they're like, oh, let's just shut it off. Who cares? We got like 500 million members now, so it's not like it matters. But whenever you shut down that kind of stuff, you're affecting just the narrative. You're affecting.
It has a chilling effect.
Yeah, it really silences a lot of people. It reminds me of the Sopa Pippa whenever Wikipedia put up yeah, it sounds like a song. Boots and cats. But I remember when Wikipedia put the background and it just said like if we are silenced or if we are censored or if they're worried about pirating of information. They put that black screen up there. I'm thinking, how am I going to do my homework without Wikipedia? So, but real quick, just to plug the show one more time. If you have not subscribed, feel free to do so. It is bit.ly.com. That's bitly.com/Dissent Show. And go ahead and subscribe. You can also set up notifications. If you set up notifications, that will actually send you a notification every time we put up a video, if we schedule a video, just so you'll be on top of everything so you can join in. As you can tell right now, we are struggling every now and again with staying on schedule and stuff like that. Ollie's an entrepreneur, travels a lot, doing a lot of stuff over the next few weeks, so we're trying to be flexible and hopefully we'll be on that proper timeline moving forward. But this will at least you'll be at the front end of everything with those notifications. On Twitter, you can follow us at Dissent Show. That's DISSENT Show. And then Ollie is at ALI, and I am at Devin Wills, DEVONWILLS. We have Giuseppe Cucci on the back end doing the camera switching, doing the editing, all that kind of stuff. Then we have a couple other gentlemen, Trevor and Jordan on the back end doing some live tweets, different things like that. As long as the technical difficulty was worked out with Jordan. But anyways, did everything get squared away?
It sounds like it. Quotes from yours truly and you truly should be leaving the show. The show's account on Twitter And, that's just another interactive aspect that we're bringing to the audience. Again, the show has no ads, no sponsors, no sugar daddies, although I'm looking for one. And, it's good to have a capable and competent team. Now there's 5 of us manning a web show where we might make up 10% of the entire audience.
Exactly. Sometimes whenever I see who's watching the show, I'm like, oh, wait, I think I have to count myself in that. I'm not quite sure. So, it's great to see the growth. I think that there's a lot of great things that are going to happen. What did we see? Yeah. 55 subscribers, and Ali will teach you his mad debate skills, and whatever that was. No. We're trying to grow, trying to cover more topics, try to incorporate some more pop culture type stuff. One thing we do like to hit on pretty hard, and by hit on I mean pick on, not hit on, because we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton, and I don't want to hit on Hillary Clinton personally. You might actually get sick, but no, I'm kidding. This week, another coughing rant, and I am not a conspiracy guy that says, well, she had a stroke and she's got these problems, and I'm not watching the Dr. Drew interviews, and I saw another video posted today where somebody said, hey, you should watch this doctor, he's given a breakdown and all that kind of stuff of Hillary Clinton's health. But I think it is a little concerning that she can pretty much chug a whole cup of water, and it doesn't affect her throat. It doesn't affect her ability not to cough. So, Ali, I mean, you saw that. You actually, I think you sent me the
Cleveland,
video.
Ohio, Hillary Clinton gives 4 minutes of coughing. Not a 4-minute speech. It was a 4 minute of coughing. And, I mean, it's bizarre. In fact, somebody write this down. One of our many little grunts, write this down. I want a reaction video to Hillary Clinton's coughing speech, because I know when I showed it to Trevor was like, ha ha ha, she's coughing again. And that's what a lot of these Trump fanatics and supporters point to. Then we got to like a full minute, and he's like, what's wrong with her? Then a minute and a half, why isn't anyone helping her? Then the 2-minute mark, like, oh my God! And you're watching this happen, and I wanted to see his honest reaction, because I remember thinking, like, who the hell coughs for 4 minutes in a row? I suffer from what is probably a sinus infection. I'm gonna go see an ENT specialist when I get back to Baton Rouge. But and severe allergies, and when I'm that bad and I'm that hoarse, my voice never stays that hoarse as long as hers did. She was crying through names of local elected officials, and no one thought to take her off stage. Her VP candidate is literally 4 feet behind her. He didn't take over. It was bizarre. We were in cuckoo land, okay?
Yeah.
Not to mention Tim Kaine is the most white out there, clapping off beat, like, to her coughing. Like, we are living in a parallel universe where Democrats are not allowed to be criticized. We're pointing out that the old lady who dyes her hair might have health problems is, you're a sexist, misogynist, hating little pig. And you're Christian and white probably too. And if you're not Christian and white, you're Uncle Tom. You hate yourself. You're a self-hater. It's like where are we living in a world where we can't criticize a 70-year-old woman who coughs more than anybody we've ever seen in public life, ever. Period.
Yeah. Well, I said one of our listeners, Josiah, said that. It reminds me of the video where they put the bong in her hand or whatever. It's at the very beginning. She's
yeah.
And then you can hear the bong fall off the podium and shatter, and then the whole time she's like, and the smoke's just coming out. It's so funny because it's just when you can poke fun at that, and of course she's the most derogatory person. She's just condescending in everything she does. And so whenever you're condescending towards her, or you try to point out some sort of flaw or a possible issue, it's whatever. She's just everybody's like. So I got a car inspected today, and I was at the actual mechanic, and they had The View on, which I never watched The View. and I forgot who they had as a guest today, but she was talking some good things about Donald Trump. And Joy Behar and Whoopi Goldberg said some of the dumbest things I have ever heard. For one, they were pointing out, like, they were saying that Donald Trump's a liar and all this stuff, and I forgot who the guest was, but she specifically was like, well, Hillary Clinton's been lying to the public for months, minimally.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, just of recent past, she's been lying about all sorts of things.
Oh, God.
And so she started alluding to the emails, and Whoopi Goldberg's response was like, well, let me tell you this, and I can't do a Whoopi impression or anything like that. I don't want to be considered a racist. But
she has that raspy voice. She's like, I can't do it either.
I can see her talking, but she said something along the lines of, well, if the FBI is not investigating, if they looked into it and said it's not worth their time, then she must not have done anything wrong. And I'm like, the moment that I say, okay, if the FBI says it's cool, then it's cool. Like, the moment I say, hey, if our government is 100% okay with it, then I'm okay with it, I have to question my ability.
She just endorsed the killing of Martin Luther King, the bugging of civil rights leaders, the systematic harassment of different liberal revolutionaries during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I don't think that you should be giving unfettered power to any federal agency, unelected federal agency, and that's essentially what Whoopi Goldberg, a woman of color, is doing. Oh, because it satisfies her electoral outcome.
Yeah, well, what's funny is, I mean, if she does move out of the country when Donald Trump gets elected, I'm gonna laugh. I'll probably laugh for a good 20 minutes because it's so funny to me. And Joy Behar, one of the things they started talking about was
take Lena Dunham with her and her bags of McDonald's obesity.
Yeah, they were talking about whether they should fact check in the middle of debates and call, like, if the moderators or whatever should actually call out people for lying. And Joy Behar was like, well, I don't think we should do that because you might as well assume that everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth is a lie. And I'm sitting there, there was this older gentleman, I mean, there's a lady and an older gentleman, they're probably both in their 70s, and they're like, the older lady was, she's like, I'm so tired of the politics, I don't even watch TV no more. She's like, man, she's like, if my husband were to walk into this room, he'd turn that TV right off. And I'm just thinking, like, these are some people that I guarantee have seen some stuff, you know. And even the gentleman in there was just like, yeah, I can't stand this. And when I get on the computer, and I was actually impressed that he used the computer. He's like, when I get on the computer, I get tired of seeing all the crap that goes on there, everybody hating on each other. But it's funny because, you know, we're all polar opposites, and you were talking about how conservatives can't do anything right, and we're always the bigots and the racists and all that. I'm like, here's Joy Behar. Yeah, exactly. Here's Joy Behar given a pedestal of a daily talk show, and is like, Donald Trump lies every time he talks. And it's like, you spout some of the most ignorant crap on a daily basis. Like, I don't understand how our public allows these people to get on TV and run their mouth about things they have no idea about.
Because supposedly they are better than people like me who are chewing gum on air.
By the way, Josiah, I wanted to finish what I was saying earlier. Josiah said a vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for Tim Kaine because she's an old hag or something like that. So
50-50.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Donald Trump did pass her in the polls, though. Ish.
Oh, Donald Trump, not only do you have to, as a Republican, beat a Democrat in polling, but you have to beat them plus or minus the margin of voter fraud. So, you know, if he's going to win, and he has staked it all in, I don't think that the Trump trainers really realize this. And, you know, I've disclosed I'm voting for Donald Trump. His biggest qualification is he is not the perennially disqualified Hillary Clinton. Okay, there are some policies I agree with him in. Do I think that he's the most trustworthy stalwart of conservative policy? Hell no. But I do know that personnel is policy, and there will be actual movement conservatives in his administration. There will be people whom I can pull their coats and say, hey, y'all are stepping out of line, and that's very important. But like I said, he's not Hillary Clinton. But what I will say is that he needs to be all in Pennsylvania. Every Trump person should be volunteering their last month of the election. They should take off of work, and they should be volunteering to do a ground game in Pennsylvania. Because if he doesn't win Pennsylvania, he doesn't win. Republicans are probably not likely to put Virginia in our win column. We need Virginia, North Carolina, Ohio, and Florida to win. And so if you take Virginia out, you got to find those votes somewhere. And you would still need Iowa or New Hampshire or something else on top of that to pull off a victory. So Pennsylvania is what he needs to win. And the message, the Rust Belt message, the Reagan Democrat message, the protectionism and isolation, the gum is now sticking in my mouth. Isolationist argument that he's putting forward is perfect for Pennsylvania, and he's behind in Pennsylvania. So he needs, before I believe that Donald Trump can win, he better pull way ahead in Pennsylvania, because there's precincts in Philly that get 0 Republican votes every year, and some of that's voter fraud, and some of that's the black, the death grip that the Democratic Party has on the black community.
Yeah, and I would say a lot of the things I've watched lately that it's African Americans getting out and saying, that the Democrats see them as a vote, almost I don't say property, but almost like they don't care about actually what happens in their neighborhoods. They don't care about what's the Democrats. I mean, I'd say the Republicans. I hate saying this about the party that I've been affiliated with, but they don't act like they care either as a whole. I feel you're talking about Virginia. Virginia's not going to go Republican as long as the Republican Party is suing or filing a lawsuit against our governor for reinstating the voting rights for felons. And he even said in one of his tweets or posts on Facebook, Governor McAuliffe said something along the lines of, why not allow people to vote who are paying taxes? And that's how I feel about it. However, I mean, it was executive order, and I think he abuses it, but it's not the right time to be drawing negative attention to the Republican Party of Virginia whenever we are a very crucial state in this election. And it just blows my mind. It's like, they would shoot ourselves in the foot every time. So, but
I mean, we have to understand it's just like any other type of marketing. If McDonald's went out there and they advertised, or they said, well, we want black customers, but they never paid to advertise to black customers, you would really ask your marketing director, do we really care about black customers?
No.
And then let's say that you do put an ad campaign for black customers, but you said, well, black people just need to learn how to eat better, or black people need to learn how to walk their ass into our McDonald's, or you said kind of incendiary stuff like that. You'd say, well, hey, HR director in charge of training, do we really care about black customers? The Republican Party has a black problem, has a Latino problem, has a young problem, a youth problem, a woman problem. Really, they have a lot of problems. And this is part of the reason I've left the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And if I could get one of my producers to pay attention to the show, is that if Republicans give a damn, let's actually give a damn. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's put the tone and the training where let's show that we're dedicated to freeing these communities who have been trapped by liberalism and lies. Okay. Let's do that if we actually really give a damn. Let's represent these people and not dictate to them and tell them how wrong they've been, because that's not going to do anything going forward. So I agree with you entirely. If we want black votes, we got to shut up about some things, because that's not – you wouldn't lay next to your wife in the middle of the night and say, hey, baby, you farted. It's like, we got to let some things go and not mention it if you want to keep a marriage alive. So I've been told.
Yeah, it just every time I see it. I mean, the other day I posted about it. I said, I have to reassess my allegiance or alliance with this party because the the suggested or promoted post in the middle of my timeline on Facebook was is Ed Gillespie, and it said, "Join me in this fight to not allow convicted felons to vote," or something like that. And then the petition itself was about the abuse of executive order. And I pretty much said, if this was a petition about executive order only, I'd be for it. But it's not. It is a petition to say he used executive order to allow felons to vote that have served their time and paid their debt to society. And I was like, I'm not for that. If they're paying taxes, they should be able to vote. And you know what? And this goes back to our criminal justice system and the prison system. If they're convicted felons. Well, if they spent their time in prison and they got out, and we believe in our system, we would believe that they have changed. We would believe that they're reformed person. We'd believe that they learned something while spending their time in prison. And whenever we don't allow them to we don't restore their rights that they once had. Granted, I don't think they should be able to purchase a gun based on sort of as a violent felony or something like that. However, if we believe that they've paid their debt and they learned in prison and that's what prison is for, then why do we question it? Unless I'm wrong there.
We have to understand, and a lot of people have to get into this is the philosophy of law, the philosophy of our judicial system and our third branch because it's really easy for good people to say they did this, they are bad, they need to blah blah blah. It's kind of like the refugee argument, like no, we can't let any of the Muslims in, You can have a logical reason argument for it. So my argument for not letting in any refugees, and my friends in the press and my liberal friends say, but Ali, you're one of those reasonable Republicans. And I said, anybody who cannot be vetted cannot come into this country. Anybody coming from such a war-torn country, such as Syria, where you have ISIS and North Africans and other people posing as Syrians to get into Europe, to then come here, cannot come. I want zero threats. Yeah. It's very easy. And the same argument is what I think about our system. Our system, whether you agree with it or not, it is a system that is not just built off of punitive punishment, punitive effects for whatever crime you cause. It's also about rehabilitation and the reintroduction into society. If we don't believe in that, then we need to totally change the system we have. It needs to be public beatings. It needs to be public hangings. It needs to be pay a giant fine or pay a tax that lasts forever and reminds you of your sin. And then we need to bow our heads to the theocracy that we've created. But if it is about taking a citizen who's done harm to the common good in the community, punishing them, and then reintroducing them back into a productive member of society, then we have to be dedicated to testing all of that and then coming out with an outcome that achieves the actual goal. And again, the goal has to be to rehabilitate people. So, where I get queasy is with violent felons. I am a felon. But the idea is I can't call myself an ex-felon. There's no word, there's a phrase, reformed felon, but still I got that, it's the scarlet letter F on me. It affects where I can live. It affects where I can work for the rest of my life. Now that's a punishment I'm willing to carry and I'm willing to bear because I made a mistake when I was 20. But the idea that I don't get my rights back, something that the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence say was granted to me by God and not my government, that just seems really hypocritical. No. And especially if I'm not an ongoing threat to society. Again, I can understand why violent, there's a scientific argument that rapists and people who have killed people, their brain chemistry is a little bit different. They've been altered by their experiences. They're going to have a bad day again. All kinds of other stuff.
I've had like a sinus infection.
The Devin nose flare. I mean, it is legendary. I just saw it come back.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not playing the bass this time either. Come on.
Yeah, you weren't even slapping the bass. But you know, we have to really think about. You know, this is how you think about policy, people. A lot of you people are into politics and you're not into policy. I'm one of those rare birds that breeds both. And if you're going to be into policy, you have to think about what are your goals, and then you have to implement policy that achieves that outcome. And sometimes that requires hard work, heavy lifting, means testing, and you know what? We'll all eventually get there to the promised land, or we won't.
Yeah, and with the reform there, I would say. It's like the same thing with logic. You know, if it's able to be applied, like the law, if it's able to be applied on the lowest of citizen, then it should be able to be applied at, you know, to the president. You know, or for instance, Hillary Clinton and her emails and all of that. But the consistency is what I'm looking for. If you believe that PRISM is going to fix something, if you believe prison is going to help rehabilitate and help produce a productive member of society, then why squander that? Why cut it short? Why keep somebody from being able to do what they should have been doing in the first place? What's the point of having, you know, like you were saying, like if you can't come back into society after prison and be productive and society trusts you in that, then why are we letting people out? Like, there's no point. It's like, hey, you can come out and live miserably, you know. So, but yeah, I was gonna say about the email thing real quick. The most absurd thing I read today was Hillary Clinton stating that she didn't understand that C meant classified in her emails. Absolutely obnoxious, and it did not help.
Lie, and it's a lie. She's a former First Lady, Secretary of State, United States Senator. She served on the Senate Armed Services Committee. It's just a flat-out lie that she didn't realize that C meant. And it actually means confidential. It does not mean classified. It's a part. There's 3 different tiers of classified, whatever. And Donald Trump actually got knocked on this tweet.
Yeah, like several times today.
Yeah. And, you know, it's like, it's easy to mistake, but not if you're Hillary Clinton and you've been around classified materials for 25 years.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, Donald Trump is lying every time he opens his mouth. That's sarcasm for those who didn't hear 10 minutes ago what we were talking about. But, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. Sorry for the late start. A lot of technical difficulties. Are you going to dab now?
I don't know how to do that. Is that how you dab?
You dab like this and you point your arm back. And this is weird. There you go.
Devin teaching Ali to dab on air. I think this is going to have to be a highlight and a tweet.
Hey, we can...
Wait, what is it? I don't know. I'm embarrassing myself.
The only time I've ever dabbed is at the...
Hillary Clinton! Hitler!
Yeah. The only time I ever dabbed, there's a guy wearing the Statue of Liberty. He's for the taxes here. There's like Liberty tax something or another. He's holding this sign on a street corner, and he was dancing to music, and he looked at me. I was in my driver's seat, and I went... And he started freaking out. I was like, there we go. I made somebody's day. And I had never dabbed before that, so... It was spontaneous, you know. But thank you for joining tonight. We just got off on a crazy tangent. Go ahead and subscribe. It's going to be bit.ly.com/Dissent Show. Follow us on Twitter @Dissent Show. If you have any tweets about what we talked about or you want to interject in the discussion, #Dissent. We check that regularly. If you follow us on Twitter, we will follow you back. You can follow myself @DevinWills. You can follow Ali Ali, A-L-I. Very simple, wow. And you can also follow Giuseppe, our editor, if you'd like. It is GCucci12. That's GCUCCI, the number 12. But once again, we will be putting everything out on SoundCloud and iTunes. That is going to happen this week. Take note, Giuseppe. And as we move forward, we're going to be more integrated with everything. We're going to continue with the highlight videos, more graphics, things like that. So let us know what you want to hear about. I did tweet out from the Dissent actual Twitter earlier this week about, you know, what do you want to hear? What do you want us to talk about? If there's something that you read from your favorite blog or see on Fox News, CNN, whatever. Share it with us and say, hey, I think y'all should touch on this. I want to know your opinion, because we want to know. I mean, a lot of stuff we talk about is just things that pop out at me, and I'm like, hey, we should talk about this. So just let us know. Be sure to set up notifications on YouTube so you'll know whenever we go live. And once again, hey, we thank you for joining. We will be back Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Let us know what you want us to talk about so we can get it done. And until then, hopefully we don't get demonetized on something. Did we talk about anything offensive?
I think I cussed once or twice.
But
we did insult Hillary Clinton. That might be a mark against us.
I feel like the algorithm, it might be the tag of Hillary Clinton that is causing us to be demonetized. No, I'm kidding. But thank you once again, YouTube. Josiah did not say old hag. He said she was going to croak. But I told him that's...
Thank you, Aaron, for tuning in on YouTube. You are our most loyal subscriber. Huge shout out to you. Trevor, Jordan, Giuseppe, thanks. We couldn't do the show without you. Thanks to our incomparable host, Devin Wills, who keeps us on schedule and the show running. We're going to have to find a third. We're going to have to find, like, the fat couch guy who can come in place when, you've hunted too much or I've traveled too much. Great show. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good night.
Stay vigilant.